Pakistan's Prime Minister Imran Khan says he wants peace with neighbouring India and Afghanistan so the region's people may prosper. And he's seeking help from one of Pakistan's oldest allies, Turkey.
Pakistan obviously would want stability because we want economic progress. It doesn't come without stability. And stability will only take place when Pakistan and India sit down and resolve the differences.
Khan also wants to boost trade between them, which hasn't grown significantly despite their close diplomatic ties. The two governments are negotiating a free trade deal as well as an investment treaty. They hope these steps will boost trade from roughly $650 million in 2018 to $10 billion over the next few years. And they're working together on defense projects including helicopters, training aircraft, weapons and other military equipment.
Our bilateral meetings have been very effective, and we shall be taking instrumental steps between Turkey and Pakistan through meetings on the ministerial level this year.
Some Turkish companies and social sector organizations have been working in Pakistan for many years. They built the country's first urban mass transit project in Lahore, and they led rescue and rehabilitation efforts when an earthquake struck northern areas of the country in 2005. Khan's now hoping they can help reconstruct the country's tribal areas that have been destroyed by years of terrorism and counterinsurgency and help stabilize the economy through trade and investment. Mobin Nasir, TRT World.
And Mobin joins me here in the studio. Hi Mobin. Pakistan and Turkey have been negotiating some sort of a trade deal for years now. Are we any closer to that? What's the hold-up?
So there's a couple of key issues here. First of all, Pakistan's been asking for concessions under the classification of GSP+. Now, this is a classification that's given by the EU. Pakistan says it should get that because Turkey is part of the customs union. Turkey, of course, has been waiting for a renegotiation, has been long overdue with the EU on exactly that deal. And so, obviously, the Turkish side is not going to be able to offer any concessions on a deal that itself needs to renegotiate. On the other hand, Pakistan's free trade agreement with China is so vague and frankly all-encompassing that it's not just Turkey but many other countries also feeling that if they were to enter into a similar deal with Pakistan, they might be opening up the floodgates for Chinese products more so than Pakistani products. So those issues need to be ironed out, and from the looks of it, it seems that this may be the year that it happens.
Interesting. I'd like to talk about China in a moment, but let's look at defence cooperation. It was a big part of President Erdogan and Imran Khan's talks. Tell us more about that cooperation between the two countries.
So again, this is something that's been in the works for a few years now with the previous government in Pakistan as well. We've seen the handover of one fuel tanker to Pakistan's Navy. Pakistan is also buying about 30 Attack helicopters from Turkey. It's also buying 4 corvettes, which are basically naval vessels. 2 of those are being built here. The other 2 will be built in Pakistan. So a fair degree of technology sharing also taking place there. And then there are similar deals on other weapons, military gear, surveillance equipment, etc.
Let's look at China now, because in his first public address when he took victory, Imran Khan said that he wanted to build closer economic ties with China, China being obviously one of the world's dominant economies right now. So how does Turkey factor into all this then?
I think that the key here is, of course, infrastructure projects, right? Pakistan's, the biggest chunk of those, besides the power projects, are infrastructure projects, and that's something that Turkish companies excel at. We've seen that in North Africa, we've seen that in the Middle East, and other parts of the world, like Qatar even, where they're planning to have that World Cup, and they really need to sort of build another city, really, with massive stadiums, highways, etc. And those are the kind of contracts that Turkish companies could be looking at. Look, given the fact, despite the fact that the business ties may not be as well entrenched, the fact of the matter is that culturally, diplomatically, the countries are very close. So that should give Turkish companies an edge to work in Pakistan.
Interesting. So playing to Turkey's strength, I guess. Another big issue for Imran Khan is the issue of corruption, something that is endemic in Pakistan. Tell us a bit more about what Imran Khan plans to do on that front.
I think specifically in the context of Turkey, a lot of the reforms that they're trying to bring, not just on the corruption, but in terms of just making governance better, are things that they could get help on. Look, Pakistan's already been working with Turkey, like I mentioned that report, on public infrastructure projects, on policing, on surveillance. There are other similar projects that they now want to take from here and emulate. For instance, he met the health minister and asked him to help revamp the healthcare system there. Again, Pakistan has a huge problem of ghost schools, ghost teachers, without really an effective way of making sure that the people who are getting the money for these services are in fact delivering them. So those are again areas where the two governments could work together.
Interesting. And just quickly, I just want to ask about Imran Khan's plans, other plans for the country. What one other signature policy does he have?
I think at the moment it has to be all about the economy. Look, Pakistan right now, as we've seen, has been getting some support in terms of funding from Saudi Arabia, from the other countries, but really until they fix the fiscal house, so to speak, these handouts are only going to last so long.
Okay, Mobin Nasir, thank you so much for that, as always.